Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast. And today, I'm going to go my review of Monday Night Raw. Starting off the night, we have Rhea Ripley. Ripley comes out to the ring, grabs a microphone, says she wants her title back. Rhea then calls out Liv Morgan and Raquel Gonzalez. Tiffany Stratton ends up coming out to the ring. Tiffany then says a message from Nia Jax. Raquel Gonzalez and Liv Morgan come out to the ring to attack Tiffany and Rhea Ripley. Moving on from that, we go into our first official match of the night. Is for the Women's Tag Team Championships. It is Damage Control versus Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. I thought it was a good match. Back and forth matchup between both teams with Jade and Bianca keeping the pace of the match. Jade hits a powerbomb for a near fall. Io hits an Acai moonsault to the outside. Lash Legend was ringside. She ends up hitting Io, which allowed Belair to hit the KOD, pins for the 3, and your winners of the match. And still, WWE Women's Tag Team Champions are Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. Moving on from that, we have Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce is backstage. He announces that there will be a tag team tournament for the men's tag team titles. Definitely interesting in seeing that. Now, moving on from that, speaking of the tag team tournament, it officially kicks off. It is Alpha Academy versus the returning War Raiders. Before the match even gets started, though, man, the War Raiders returning with the old name, absolutely awesome. The NXT, old school NXT theme, I thought it was absolutely great. I was not a big fan of the Viking Raiders. I've always known them as the War Raiders, so it was great to see them back. And they looked strong as ever, man. It was a good match, back and forth matchup between Alpha Academy and the War Raiders, with the War Raiders keeping the pace of the match. And the War Raiders ultimately hit the finish, pins for the 3, and your winners of the match. And moving on in the tag team tournament is the War Raiders. Hats off to the War Raiders for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we have Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes comes out to the ring, hypes up the crowd. Gunther comes out. He praises Rhodes. Gunther then says that he has a lot of respect for Rhodes. Gunther then says he wants the best Rhodes at Crown Jewel, and he doesn't want Rhodes to be distracted with the Kevin Owens situation. Rhodes then says Gunther cracks under pressure. Gunther then mocks Rhodes. Rhodes then says that he has dominated the greatest WWE champion of all time with beating Roman Reigns. So hopefully Gunther doesn't take Cody Rhodes lightly going into Crown Jewel. Moving on from that, we have Kofi Kingston versus Braun Breaker. I thought it was a good match, man. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Kofi and Braun, with Braun keeping the pace of the match. Braun quickly hits a spear on Kofi, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Braun Breaker. After the match, Woods comes out to the ring to save Kofi Kingston, but instead, Breaker attacks Woods. Jey Uso comes out to the ring. Jey hits a spear on Braun Breaker. Moving on from that, we have R-Truth versus The Miz. I thought it was a decent match. There was a little, message that was played during the match from the Wyatt Six. Looks like the Wyatt Six have a new target that they are looking at to attack here relatively soon. But this was a glorified squash match, man. Final Testament come out to the ring, distract The Miz. R-Truth ends up hitting a roll-up on The Miz, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is R-Truth. After the match, the Final Testament attack R-Truth. Moving on from that, we go into the main event of Monday Night Raw. It is Rhea Ripley teaming up with Tiffany Stratton versus Raquel Gonzalez and Liv Morgan. I thought it was a good match, back and forth matchup between both teams, with Raquel and Liv keeping the pace of the match. Rhea hits a riptide. Nia Jax comes out to the ring. She attacks Rhea. The match ends in a disqualification. Nia then attacks Liv Morgan. Nia then hits an Annihilator. Tiffany then goes to cash in, but Dominic saves Liv Morgan. Couple of things I want to talk about quickly, man, before I get the hell up out of here. Number one, I know it's a quick review. It was a tape show last night. It's been taped for the past 2 weeks for Monday Night Raw. But with that being said, I will say that this Monday Night Raw was a hell of a lot better than last week's. Obviously, seeing Cody Rhodes hyping up that matchup between Cody Rhodes and Gunther at Crown Jewel, it's going to be a hell of a match, man. But to me, honestly, the biggest vocal point going into Monday Night Raw last night was Jimmy. Seeing Jimmy, I was surprised to see Jimmy on Raw. I know after the attack that Jimmy sustained for the Bloodline last week on SmackDown, he told Roman flat out, he's like, hey, we need help, man. We can't do this by ourselves. So it looks like Jimmy is trying to do his absolute best to recruit Jey Uso to come over to SmackDown to help Roman Reigns and Jimmy take down Solo Sikoa's new Bloodline, man. But it's going to be a tall tale task. It seems like Jey has no interest whatsoever to join Roman. Now, there could be multiple things going into this. This could be something where maybe Jey doesn't want to hear from Jimmy, and that Jey actually wants to hear from the Tribal Chief. and that Jay wants his respect from Roman, because Roman, at the time when they were in the bloodline, Roman wasn't really giving a lot of respect to Jey Uso. So I think Jay is just waiting to hear from Roman, and he wants a little respect from Roman, and have Roman actually say that he needs Jay to join him to take down Solo Sikoa's new bloodline, man. And again, to me, this is something that I've been telling you guys, man, when it pertains to the bloodline. The bloodline is, if not the best storyline going right now in professional wrestling, hands down. And, seeing Jimmy last night trying to recruit Jay, and seeing Jay being completely pissed off with Jimmy, not wanting anything to do with Jimmy, it seems like Jimmy's trying to do whatever he can to recruit Jay to the original bloodline. And to be honest with you, I would not be surprised that we don't see Jimmy again, maybe on Monday Night Raw next week, trying to recruit Sami Zayn. Obviously, Zayn has a lot of ties to the original bloodline. He was an honorary Uso when Roman Reigns' original bloodline. So I could see, Jimmy also reaching out to Sami Zayn. Zayn has really nothing going on right now. He just lost a high-profile matchup against Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. I believe that was last Monday, or 2 Mondays ago. And Zayn right now really ain't doing a whole lot. So I could see, a reuniting, if you will, of possibly Sami Zayn and Jey Uso going over to join Roman Reigns for the original bloodline to take on Solo Sikoa's new bloodline, which that would be absolutely incredible, man. And that match will probably go down at War Games for Survivor Series. I'm all for it. I'm 100% locked in for that. And I think it's absolutely great. And to be honest with you, like I said, man, Monday Night Raw, compared to last week to this week, it was a hell of a lot better than last week. Last week was just awful. Absolutely awful. But this week, man, it was pretty good. And like I said, I think the main vocal point from Monday Night Raw last night was Jimmy Uso, surprisingly. It was him trying to do whatever he can to possibly reconnect with Jay and maybe have Jay reconsider, or consider joining Roman Reigns and Jimmy in this bloodline feud, if you will. So it's going to be very interesting here for the next few weeks on what Jimmy's going to do. Is Jay going to actually join Roman and Jimmy? Is Jimmy going to reach out to Sami Zayn? There's going to be a lot of moving parts here when it pertains to this bloodline storyline, man. And like I told you guys before, and I've been saying it for the past few months, this bloodline storyline is the best storyline going on right now in all professional wrestling. And WWE and Triple H continuously keep adding, these little ingredients into this, this pot, if you will, to make the storyline even better every single time, man. Like I told you guys, it's like a fine wine. It gets better over time. And this bloodline storyline alone has been going on for like the past 2-3 years. And it all started with Roman. I would see Roman bringing back Paul Heyman as well. I mean, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And like I said, the other wild card in all of this is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Is he going to align himself up with Roman? Or is he going to align himself up with Solo Sikoa and his new bloodline? So again, man, there's a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts. But all in all, man, I got to say it was not a bad Monday Night Raw last night, even though it was a tape show last night. But like I said to you all earlier, it was definitely a hell of a lot better show this week than it was last week, without a shadow of a doubt. So with that being said, this is my review of Monday Night Raw. I hope you guys are out there staying safe. Be careful, and remember, stay classic. Peace.